like the President of the Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs and Sultan of Sokoto, Sa'ad Abubakar, were at Ishenyi to commission the newly completed Ishenyi Central Mosque. Governor Makinde in his address spoke about his administration's effort to address the current economic hardship in the state. He did not, however, forget to address the allegation made by the President of the Senate that state governors received 30 billion naira from the federal government. He described it as an unfounded claim.
If you want to play politics, we'll keep quiet and say let it slide. But I'm not going to let this slide. FIRS cannot give money to any state. So if the Senate President, number 3 citizen in this country, will say of verified report, people are looking at us as leaders.
The Sultan of Sokoto expressed gratitude to the facilitator of the project, a former resident electoral commissioner in the country, for fostering religious peace through this initiative. He believed that gatherings of this nature have the potential to unite Nigerians and pave the way for the desired development.
We only thank Allah for this blessing to make it possible for us to really understand one another. What we must continue to do as Muslims, we must understand one another. I'm very pleased to see the representative of Khan in Oyo here, and he gave a very beautiful speech. This should be replicated all over because we are one big family with different religious beliefs.
As citizens, no matter the challenges we are facing, let us be praying for our leaders. Not because I see them. If you curse your leaders, you will have the effect more than they will feel it. I appeal to us, let us always pray for them, even where we notice difficulties.
You can also see today yourself that Muslims, non-Muslims and so, many of them were there and they were satisfied, rejoicing with one another. And I think that sends message to us that we are all one.
With the commissioning of this project by Governor Makinde, residents of Ishenyi hope that the government and other well-meaning individuals can further invest in the development and improvement of their communities. Oladio Yewole, TVC News, Ishenyi, Oyo State.
President Bola Tinubu has described former governor of Ondo State, Rotimi Akeredolu, as a fearless soldier and advocate of his people. The president was represented by the vice president, Kashim Shettima, spoke at the burial service held for the late senior advocate of Nigeria at the St. Andrew's Cathedral, Owo, in Ondo State. In attendance were governors of Lagos, Oyo, Ogun, Osun, Ekiti, and Delta states. Former governors, senators, among other dignitaries. Ayodeji Muradeyo tells us more.
It is the end of an era. The final journey to the great beyond for former governor of Ondo State, Rotimi Akeredolu. The large turnout of dignitaries from all walks of life for the final burial service for the man popularly known as Aketi attests to his stature as an accomplished.
Let's take a short break, and when we return, it will be time to speak with our guest of the day, Christopher Terre, an international peacekeeping and operations expert, to discuss the police and the challenge of keeping Nigeria safe. Stay with Politics Tonight, everyone.
The Inspector General of Police has met with senior officers to review the state of security.
We are continuing our coverage of the arrest of Godwin Emefiele.
The Senate has summoned the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria to properly brief the Senate regarding the state of the economy.
President Bola Tinubu has announced the total removal of fuel subsidy.
The fresh subsidy is gone. What I will never take is threat.
Let's now bring you more developments from Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, where
Thank you for staying with us, everyone. Welcome back to Politics Tonight. Let's focus on the police and the challenges of keeping Nigeria safe. I mean, that's one of the key security agencies tasked with that responsibility of combating internal insecurity, most especially as the conversations around the creation of state police gather momentum. And just yesterday, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, reiterated that 400 policemen inadequate to secure Nigeria's huge population. Let me bring on my guest for tonight. It's Christopher Tere, former Commissioner of Police, Central Criminal Registry, FCID, Alagbon, also international peacekeeping and operations expert, as we focus on policing in Nigeria. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Tere. It's so good to see you, sir. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having me.
Right. I would have loved to start with how you've been doing since you retired in 2020, but I guess we'll talk about that later. Let's focus on the core issue for tonight. Modern-day policing in Nigeria, are we doing it right?
Well, I want to thank you once again for having me and to say that I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you for coming as well.
Yeah. The policing in Nigeria has a lot of challenges because you just mentioned one of the challenges we have with policing in Nigeria, having to police a country as large as we are, a country that covers about 927,768 square kilometers. It's a huge country with over 200 million Nigerians. And then we have, just as you have said, rightly said, having 400,000. In fact, it's even less because we have what we call the attrition rate. As people who are retiring, people who are dead, people who are dismissed, all these people. So there's no way we can say that as it's presently constituted, the Nigeria police is doing excellently well. It's just trying. I mean, maybe moderately because of lack of equipment, lack of, good welfare and stuff like that. So, but it can do better if provided with all this.
Right. But what is your idea of a standard police force?
It's very simple. A standard police force is the one that, if we go by the recommendation of the United Nations, like, 400, one policeman to 400, talk about best practices. In those days, we used to have, in a police division, you have the DPO, you have the men, the personnel, and you have at least 2 Land Rovers. You had, motorcycles, and, the welfare was not too bad. So what you can call an ideal police for a country is where that, police force is, taking care with issue of welfare, good accommodation, good welfare, personnel. When you have all these logistical arrangements, then you can say, yes, we have arrived. But as it is we have not.
All right, but let me also ask you, what's the recruitment process like?
I will tell you a story, if you don't mind. Many years ago, when I was in the police college, the recruitment exercise was done. And then these people were supposed to be brought to us for what we call documentation. We had to document them and make sure that they had all the requisite qualifications, their height, their, we don't take people with squint eyes, with bow legs, with, knock knees and stuff like that. So when they brought these people, for us to, put them in the college for training. We discovered that they had some defects, some of them. And we said we're not going to accept them for training. But, we had something from somewhere that they were specially recruited from a particular section of the country, and we had no choice but we had to take them. That kind of a thing. So the recruitment process is such that it's warped. That's why you found some time ago the IGP, the Inspector General of Police, and the Chairman, Police Service Commission having issues because the Service Commission, is a civilian arrangement. Then we have the police force. The police force should have its personnel, dealing with training, because there's a whole department for training, that should go all out to seek for those people that we really need in the police. So with regards to educational qualification, the height, the chest, and all those things. So I think, the matter went to court, and then the Police Service Commission won at that place. So
the Police Service Commission is in charge of recruitment?
It's in charge of recruitment because that's what the Constitution says. But, at some point, I think one of the chairmen, the past chairman of the Police Service Commission, felt that it should allow the IGP to do this thing because in the end, is the one that is going to make use of the men. Is the one that is going to deploy them, is the one that knows them, is the one that should go out to seek. I mean, you want to make use of your personnel. This year, the organization you are saddled with, you should be allowed to recruit those people that you need. It's not somebody else somewhere that is doing the recruitment for you. So, to me, to my mind, I think that place needs to be ironed out. The IGP needs to, though it's the Constitution that's giving that latitude to the Police Service Commission, but it should work in collaboration, in sync with the Inspector General of Police.
All right, Miss, I would like you to also talk to us about training. What kind of training does a Nigerian policeman go through?
The training is okay. It's only the environment that is the problem. You will recall some time ago that a television station went to Police College Ikeja and saw the infrastructure was dilapidated, the classrooms were bad and all that. The curriculum for training is okay. The basic training, they train them in the laws of the country, because if you are going to police a country, you should know the laws of the country. They train them on, human rights to make sure that the human rights of Nigerians are not jeopardized, and then protection of lives and property, just like we have in Section 4 of Police Act. Section 4 of Police Act talks about, protection of lives and property, prosecution of offenders, and maintenance of law and order. Okay. So the training covers all this, and to make sure that people are protected, because the primary objective of any government is the welfare and protection of the security of the lives of the people, and the police, takes charge of internal security arrangement. So it's the job of the police to protect the people internally and to make sure that their lives and property are safe. So the training is tailored along this line. And we have various levels. We have the, constable to sergeant to inspector level. And then we have the senior police officers level. So we have police college for recruits, and then you have the police academy for senior officers. So in the, when we went for training, we're already graduates. So we went, to the police academy. We did like 18 months in the police academy, because we're taking through all the, rudiments, from basic, to the senior, to so many things, in the police academy. But now, at the police academy, where, somebody who has a school cert goes through the GMA, the Joint Admission Matriculation Examination, and he goes, to the police academy to study whatever he wants to study with police duties. So you can, study to be an accountant, to be a business administrator, whilst you are also studying, to be a police officer. So that takes a maximum of like 4 years.
All right. I mean, we're here today talking about a system that has existed for over a century. There have been calls for reform on operation. There have been calls for reform on employment, welfare. I mean, you've talked about welfare, but what other kinds of reforms do we need?
Well, I think we should go back to the welfare issue because a lot has been said, and it cannot be it cannot be overemphasized that the police needs a lot of welfare, and it's because we have gone through many years of military rule in this country, and that has had negative effect on the operationability and on the administration, on the effectiveness of the Nigeria police. Because it appears that the police has been deliberately undermined. For example, the Nigerian Army came from the Nigeria Police. The Nigeria Customs, Immigration, Correctional Services, they all came from the Nigeria Police. EFCC came from the Nigeria Police. ICPC, they were trained by the Nigeria Police. So why is it that each time that we need something, different in the country, then you live like the mother. For example, in a company, you have somebody who is so good, who is so professional. You go to him anytime you want to train people, and after that, you leave him. And then you take, good care of all the trainers that he has trained, the trainees, rather, that he has trained. So, the Nigeria Police has never gotten a better deal. For example, if you are in the EFCC today, you have a better deal. If you are in the ICPC today, you have a better deal. The DSS came out of the Nigeria Police. You have a better deal. So, but the question I keep on asking myself is, why is successive governments not taking the issue of police welfare very seriously? Just visit any police barracks. Visit Ikeja. Some time ago, I was in a mobile police barracks in Ikeja, and I was downstairs. I looked upstairs, and I saw a gaping hole. I saw people passing. And you find like 3-4 families staying in a 2-bedroom apartment. What kind of, life is that? And somebody is transferred from Sokoto to Lagos. There's no place for him to stay. You are investigating. I take myself as an example. I was a deputy commissioner investigating for 3 states. For the about 3 years I stayed there, I was given only 18,000 to run my office. So how was that going to be?
But who do we blame for this? Because I had the same conversation with former IGP Michael Kiru, and he says the IGP knows what to do. Well,
if he said the IGP knew what to do, that means he should have taken the matter to the president, to say, well, this is the situation. Because, the point is that in this country, nobody is ready to say, well, this is what I want for this. And it's not for himself. It's for the country. And, well, sir, if I can't have this, then I'm ready to leave. Because that's why I think he says so. So, if an Inspector General of Police finds himself in a situation whereby the welfare of his people is being jeopardized and people are complaining and he is not seeing the result of the work, because we are in this studio, it's cool in this studio. Who doesn't want to stay in a cool and calm place so that you can think? I used to bring my own chair to my office. I used to bring my curtains to my office. I used to bring my air conditioner to my office.
Was that bad?
Yes, a lot of officers do that. That you get to an office, you don't have, basic furniture to use. So you have to buy or borrow. Policemen live on public patronage. And that's why you see all those vehicles donated by these, even witches and prostitutes, they want to donate to the police. Why should that be? Why is other people, you don't see, you know, for example, have you seen any DSS vehicle that is written, donated by so and so place? No, it doesn't happen. It's only in the police. So why should it be? So if he is saying that it depends on the IGP, himself was IGP. So you take this matter to you lobby for the police.
We'll come back to this matter of welfare and what the Nigeria police need.
Yes.
But also, let me ask you, is the Nigeria police still capable of delivering efficient security under this present structure?
Yes, it can. Of course, you know, the politicians know how to, you know, maneuver and manipulate the police. For example, during elections, that is the time they remember that the police will need vehicles. That is the time they remember the police will need, you know, infrastructure, they will need some welfare. But I believe that this kind of thing should be ongoing. It should be systematic. It should something that should be done all the time because it's for the safety and security of all of us. I tell you something. Nigerian policemen are very, very dedicated. They work under extraneous circumstances. What will a commander say? What will a commissioner of police say to his men? Well, we don't have these things, but we have to deliver. We don't have this infrastructure. We don't have these vehicles. We have to deliver. We cannot afford to fail. Because sometimes when you fail, you are not even spared. So you don't even want to fail because you are going to be queried anyhow. You know, because what explanation are you going to give? Okay, I don't have stationery, that's why I cannot investigate. I don't have a vehicle, that's why, you know, I couldn't go to make arrests and stuff like that. So, in this present dispensation, the policemen are working their heart out. They are making a lot of sacrifices for this country. And it's because, you know, we left the university to join the police because we thought that we could make a change, you know, because when we were outside, we were thinking, why is this so? Okay, we'll be joining. And when we got there, we saw the parlous state, you know, in which things were. But because of the patriotism, because of the fact that we love this country, that's why a lot of us stayed in there to make sure that we did our best. And that is what is still going on.
Right. We'll come to that, like I said earlier.
Right.
So, as a country, in this fight against insecurity, what exactly are we not getting right?
You know, insecurity in the country, I believe that this present government is doing a lot. It's not something that, you know, there is no government, there is no IGP, there is no security officer that will want, you know, a state of insecurity, you know, to continue, you know. But from what I have seen, I see that the government is very sincere. The security agencies are doing their best. But insecurity is not just, fighting insecurity is not just guns and bombs and ammunition. There is social security, there is food security, there is infrastructural security, there is health security. Insecurity in any area you think about it. So when I was listening to His Excellency Governor Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State and what he intended to do, that is security. You can see Lagos State, you know, Lagos State is not bad when it comes to security. There are policemen in Lagos, but because of what the governor has decided to do and what he has been doing, you see that there is calm. It's not in every case that you need to be firing gun and shooting people before you can, you know, get to that state. And the government, I think, is on the right path by providing food for the people. I mean, a hungry man, they say, is an angry man. When that hungry man gets food, he doesn't become angry again. So if, you know, the government continues in what it's doing now, the tension will reduce. You know, employment in the area of agriculture we read that over 500,000 hectares of land are going to be cultivated. People are going to be employed. So when all those idle hands are brought to bear and they are doing something, it will reduce insecurity. Another thing is the issue of those terrorists who have been arrested. Number one, if we have terrorists in this country who are arrested, they must be prosecuted. Number two, those that are caught in crossfire, they know what to do with them. I mean, somebody who has terrorized the country, who has killed a lot of people, who has murdered a lot of people, and then because I heard the other day they want to reform them, are they reformable? Are these people, who are brought from, the forest, who have been there for years, who have been killing, kidnapping, terrorizing, are they reformable? That is the question that must be answered.
All right. I mean, earlier you said fighting insecurity is not about guns. We've identified the fact that the Nigerian police is understaffed. Do you think this is also about budgetary allocation? I mean, all the money being budgeted just to security. Do you think it is being used properly?
There is something they call envelope budgeting. They just give you an envelope. Anything you see there, that's what they do with the Nigeria police, successively. The Nigeria police has never had adequate budget. I told you that when, the politicians want to be happy with the police during elections, but is there any consistency in what they deliver to the police? The budget for the Nigeria police, because take for instance the last administration, they purchased some APCs, they were launched in Abuja. The president was there, not this president, I mean in the past administration, at the first headquarters, APCs, pickup vehicles and the rest of them. All those vehicles were supposed to be used for the whole country, but they are not even adequate for Lagos State and Ogun State alone, because these are piecemeal, knee-jerk approaches. The Nigeria police needs a lot of investment, and that is why we commend what is going on in Lagos State again. The the Security Trust Fund, that is the way to go. And I'm happy the governor of Kaduna State has already, copied what is happening in Lagos State, because security is everybody's,
Right. So I was actually talking about budgetary allocation for national defense and security.
Yes. So, well, like I said, when you look at police budget, I don't have the figures here, but successively, the police has been crying that the budgetary allocation is manifestly low. It's nothing to write home about. I just told you that when I was investigating for 3 states, I was given only 18,000 for about the 3 years I stayed there. So where will the DPOs get the money? They are not getting any money from anywhere. They are living on public patronage. Right. This one is donated. So the budgetary allocation is not sufficient.
Right, I get that. I mean, earlier you said, and I'm happy you said that, you said that DSS came out of the Nigerian police, yes. The army came out of the Nigerian police, customs and all other sister agencies, because there is this conversation centered around the fact that some of the responsibilities of the police are currently handled by the military.
Yes.
I mean, I beg to differ. They say the military is supposed to handle external threats, but now it's been forced to handle internal security. But as an overview, do you think the Nigerian police can actually defeat banditry?
Before I answer that question, let me talk about the military taking, handling internal security, which is not their primary role.
Absolutely.
The primary role of the military is the territorial integrity of the nation. So, and if successive years, like I said, that the military succeeded in undermining the military, we're in this country when one of the governments, I don't want to mention the name, came up with the idea that we cannot have a rival force in the mobile police force. That government seized the APCs of the Nigeria mobile force, told them not to wear their uniform and all that. And this is the strike force of the police. By the way, the police has, like 3 strike forces. You have the mobile police, you have the counter-terrorism unit, you have the SPU, that is, those people, special protection unit. Now, the military, they are, diverting away from their primary role. As the government is providing for the military, as the military is making cases for themselves, they should also be making cases for internal security, which is the role of the police. Internal security is the constitutional role of the police. I was in Sierra Leone working for the United Nations, and we were to have the 2011 presidential and parliamentary elections. At that time, we secure funds to train the military, the police, the corrections, immigration, all the security agencies together so that they could work together in synergy. But we emphasize that was an internal security situation, and the police must take the lead. So if the military should come in, we have what they call MACP. What is MACP? Military Assistance to Civil Power. So they will come in at the invitation of the police. It's not that they will come in. But in Nigeria, what do we see? The military is everywhere.
But what would you blame for that? Or who? Or what would you blame for that?
Well,
because you cannot really blame the military.
We can blame the military. Because, you know why? Because the military has been in government for years in this country. And they have used that opportunity, that latitude to, place themselves in all these places.
So, Mr. Terry, you're basically saying the military, while in power, disarmed the police.
They did it.
And rendered it literally impotent.
And they have been doing that, surreptitiously. Because, you see, I felt that if they actually wanted the security agencies to work together, they should have been carrying them along, to say, okay, we are in charge of, external security. We want the police, in every forum they find themselves. They should be advocating that. But rather, they just say, okay, the police is not. Because I read some time ago that one retired officer, military officer, in the National Assembly was saying, well, internal security is not the duty of the military. So it's just saying that now. Why now? Because maybe already they are tired.
Absolutely.
Yes,
and do you think that's why the military is overwhelmed or overstretched?
They overstretched because they wanted to overstretch themselves. Because they should have advocated for more recruitment for the police, for more equipment for the police, for more training for the police. And say, no, when they were introduced into that, they should have said, no, this is not our beef. It belongs to them. So they should have advocated. When the the service chiefs go to meet the president, it's only the IG from the police that goes there with them. We have the chief, all the chiefs, all the service chiefs. We have other people who go there. It's only the IGP. So his voice will be drowned in that place. So, but if we have people who are advocating for the police, that the police need to be equipped adequately. And I tell you, we have men and women in the Nigeria police force who can do this thing if they are, appropriately, motivated.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Terra. Let's go for a break, and when we come back, we will continue this conversation. This is Politics Tonight, everyone. Let's take a break, and we'll be right back. Please stay with us.
Information is power, information is security, information is knowledge. Unlabeled lens, we believe that working people around the world have real questions of their own. They want to know how the world of work operates, what it means to the employer of labor, how policies affect workers in the workplace. On Labor Lens, I ensure we engage effectively the organized labor, organized private sector, and government to get out of them information workers are in need of. I am Sharon Ijason, asking questions that make you get sense of the workplace.
Welcome back to Politics Tonight, everyone. Thank you so much for staying with us. Tonight, we're discussing the police and the challenge of keeping Nigeria safe, and especially we're focusing on the operational capability of the Nigerian police. And I've been speaking with Christopher Terre, an international peacekeeping and operations expert. He's also former Commissioner of Police Central Criminal Registry, FCID, Alabon. Thank you so much, Mr. Terre, for staying with us. Now, before we go back to the issue of welfare, I mean, this is a big issue. Let's talk about interagency collaboration in tackling insecurity. Why do we sometimes see friction among these agencies?
Yeah, because of some of
what
the
can
things
we do for better collaboration?
Yes, I really want to appreciate Mr. President. When he met with, one of the first things he told the security agencies was that they should not work in silos. They should work together as a team, because at the end of the day, we are all serving the nation. Whether you are here or there, we should count ourselves together, as working as a team. But what do we see? Everybody, because before now, I don't know what is up Nebu now. Before now, everybody goes to meet the person, the president, trying to say, well, we are the best, we are the ones doing this, we are the ones doing that, for some, subjective reasons. But that thing needs to stop. And it is because we need to understand our constitutional rules. What is the role of the police? The role of the police is to maintain internal security. And when once that is understood, what do we need to do to make sure that the job is done? If you give somebody a job description, you must also empower that person to do that job. And where there is an overlap, then there should be understanding. Nobody should want to sit and say, I am the father of everybody. No. You have your role. I have my role. And then we have our goal. And so, you are not my father. You are not my employer. My employer is the federal government. And we are working to make sure that our people are safe, isn't it? And so, when we find ourselves together in such a situation, we should know that the thing that is the primary goal and objective of everybody is to make sure that Nigeria is safe for everybody. And so the problems we are having is because people don't interpret their roles very correctly. People don't, they just want to show it's an ego power, like in marriage. The man wants to show his ego, over his wife. I'm the one here. I'm the one dominating. I'm the one in charge, and you are not important. How do we
ensure better collaboration?
It's very simple. Like I said, it's for everybody to understand his roles. Once I know that this is your role, I respect your role. For example, if a traffic policeman is controlling traffic, what we see abroad is that everybody obeys the traffic. But if you are coming with, no, I don't obey traffic, don't you know who I am, and all that, there will be chaos in the society. And that is one of the examples where we find this kind of clashes. And then you find, some people taking truckloads of, to come and beat up policemen and shoot at their barracks and shoot at their station. We don't need to see this. It's not necessary.
All right, thank you so much. Now let's go back to the issue of welfare. And it's important to state that welfare issues are not limited to salaries. They include affordable and decent housing, healthcare, clothing. The IGP, first let me ask you, what is the monthly take home of a constable?
Well, I don't know now because I've no longer
in office.
When I was there, I didn't even bother to find out because, I mean, you know, because it was nothing to write home about. You should have asked me
How much did you think it was?
Well, maybe around 40,000, 50,000, something like that.
So how much was your salary as a commissioner?
Well, don't let me tell you here because you know, it might sound so. But what I know is that the salary is inadequate compared to the job that a police constable does. You know, this guy is transferred from somewhere to go and work. Maybe, for example, is transferred from Zamfara to come and work in Lagos. Right. Number one, he doesn't know anybody here. He comes to report at a station. There's no place for him to sleep. So
how do we achieve a well-motivated force?
Like I said, it's in the hands of the government. The government should know. You know, I was working with, again in Sierra Leone, I was working with a British police officer from London Metropolitan Police. And she told me, she said, the face of the government is the police. When you go to any country, the face of any government is the police. So the government must determine the type of the police that it needs, because, you know, it gives, when you find policemen who are not well dressed, policemen who are unruly, policemen who are unprofessional, then it's like it's telling you what is wrong in this country. So the government must decide what kind of police it needs.
The purpose of this conversation is to advise the government, because this is not the first time anyone would be having this conversation.
Yes.
And that's why I'm asking you, how do we achieve a well-motivated force? But then, okay, let's move on from that. Are you an advocate of state police?
Let me put it this way. I said initially that Nigeria is such a large country. There is no way an IGP sitting in Abuja can effectively control this country. The constitution we have, the 1999 constitution as amended, you know, sought to centralize everything. We must go, you know, past beyond that. Centralization of everything, you know, everything must be in Abuja. No, we are growing, we are expanding. You know, the population is in geometrical proportion, not even in arithmetic proportion. So we must plan. So there's no way a central police system can work in Nigeria now, because all crimes are local. So, and because all crimes are local people must be involved in security. It's not, like I said before, that it's not just a matter of guns and bombs and ammunition and all that. That is okay. I mean, that is, we say carrot and stick approach. That is the stick. It must go on. But the people must be involved in their security. Now, I'll give you an example. Again, when I was in Sierra Leone, they had a structure because there was a security sector reform in that place, you know, because of the 10-year civil war. So there was an international security sector reform that was done for that country. So they had what they call DISEC, which is District Security Committee. They have PROSEC, Provisional Security Committee. Now
that's like community.
You know, yes, you know, so that at the local level, it's not just the DPO or all these people. You get market women into that committee. You get a drivers association into that committee. You get all sorts of people into that committee, so that they know that this thing is for us. Security of we can even. There's no straitjacket approach. We have to modify whatever approach we are having to to suit our purpose.
Yes, talking about modification, there are those who have said, yes, we can have state police, but still controlled by the federal government. Because, I mean, the fear that governors will turn the police into personalized political tool is there.
Yes, that is true, but it may not be totally correct. But I'm advocating a regional police instead of state police. Yes, I believe that the governors have so many things on their plate. They are controlling the local government areas, controlling the state assembly, controlling everything. By the time you add, and how many of them are able to pay salaries, by the way? Can they afford?
Funding will be an issue.
Yeah, funding will be an issue because now they are telling us, okay, some of them are having, except Lagos State. You know, you can vouch for Lagos State. Lagos State is doing excellently well. Well, it's a city of excellence. They're doing excellently well in the area of security. They are providing even before they brought this thing. Now, can you provide the infrastructure, the logistics, you know, the welfare that the police in your state will need? Because what I say is that, yes, state police, it's not the silver bullet that will give us security in this country. No. That, okay, once we have state police, everything will be okay. I don't believe so.
But you also said the security is local.
Yes, it's local. I'm coming to that. It's local because that's why I said that it's better because we need, in this country, if you have followed the trajectory, the history of this country, you see that we need checks and balances. Okay. You know, we have, it's like they want to be commander-in-chief of some forces in their states. You know, they say, well, they call us governors and we don't have the power of coercion and all that. When I was ADC to a governor, my governor, somebody, not even my governor, somebody in the, you know, in the cabinet, something happened. He just called me, ADC, take your policeman and go. I told him, I said, sir, that's not my duty. We have a commissioner of police in that state. My duty is to secure the governor, his family, the government house, his office.
So if we go for regional police, then who funds it?
The regional police, well, in the region, because when you are talking of state police, regional police, it means it will work to some extent because the people, the personnel, will not be coming from other regions. They are going to be recruited from within that place. If you are a Yoruba man, what are you doing in Zamfara State?
Okay.
You don't know the culture, the tradition, you don't know, because all these things matter when it comes to...
Pardon me, let's say Southwest Nigeria Police now.
Yes.
The federal government or the Southwest governors?
The Southwest governors will fund it. In fact, when they established Amotekun, that was what they wanted to do on a regional basis, so that if there is a problem in, say for instance, in Ekiti State, and then they don't have enough personnel they could mobilize from. So because the problem we might have, if you have state police, is that somebody has committed a crime in state A, and then he runs to state B, and he says, I want to escape. And you want to arrest, what happens?
Right, so
because we have to work out the modalities. It's not as simple as they are talking about. Yes.
Some have even talked about Nigeria, whether or not we're ripe for that.
Yes.
But I mean, less than 2 minutes to go. What is your advice to the federal government on the lasting way to secure this country?
Yes, as I said before, the regional police will be good. And because I know that it's a difficult decision to take. That's why they have not just taken that decision, but it's going to be discussed further, you know, because you can because if you say state police, and then who are the people who will be there, you know, former police officers, are some of them going to stay there, or some of them are going to join the federal force, and all that, the logistics and all those, they have to be worked out. And the jurisdiction has to be worked out. The laws have to be worked out. Just like Supreme Court, there are some cases that, you know, should not be going to Supreme Court and all that. So funding will be from both the federal and from the state.
Right.
But once it comes to that region, put their resources
All right,
together and they'll be
in
fine.
30 seconds, you retired in 2020. What have you been up to since you retired?
Well, basically, I've been assisting my wife to do her business, and I've been involved in some church work, basically.
All right, thank you so much.
And I have my peace of mind.
Thank you so much for coming on Politics Tonight. I've been speaking with Christopher Atere, an international peacekeeping and operations expert. He's also former commissioner of Police Central Criminal Registry, FCID. Alagbo. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very
much. Please have a
much.
great weekend.
Thank you very much, Jumoke. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for watching. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But the conversation continues from here. Get in touch with us on X at TVC News NG and at Olajumoke WO using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Please have a great weekend. Good night.
5 questions with Ini. Hi guys, Ini. Your skin is really glowing. What beauty soap do you use?
It's glowing because it's healthy. I use a soap that keeps my skin soft and protected from germs.
But Ini, the beauty soaps I know don't give germ protection.
Dettol Skincare does.
It combines Dettol's protection with argan oil to protect my skin. Gives me 2 times moisturization with a beautiful fragrance. Beautiful skin.